4, 2. Anyway, so Rumble coming up. We all know this or whatever. I mean, if you hear, then you know. It was like it's right around that turnbuckle. Anyway, so last minute kind of thoughts about the whole thing with that, with obviously the Rumble and stuff like that. I was like, there's always like an Iron Man. There's always some surprises. There's always like who's going to be the last one. So that's what I'm sort of going to do here today, and some other points as well too. I was like, I'm not going to do the whole like try to 1 through 30, try to map that thing out. I was like, that's a little bit over my head in a way that I was like, I feel like if I did it with somebody or something like that, then maybe I could. Or like that's something where it's like I've seen like other people do it, but I was like, I understand when they did it as well too, that it makes a lot more sense. It's like you got to do that kind of thing like a couple weeks out really beforehand. And I was like, I like to sort of get like where it's like, this is it. This is pretty much who we gonna know in the Rumble kind of thing. I was like, I know that it takes the fun out of it a little bit, but still. Anyway, here I am with what I'm doing today. Now, I want to also say too that like on YouTube they had WWE YouTube basically been playing the Rumble for the last like several days, and so I was like, I'll just leave it on, watch it. So they're showing old school clips, they're showing new school stuff. And with that, I was like, it also sort of gave me my thought process with this or whatever, and the fact that like for instance, like where I was like thinking like who could be in this, who wouldn't be here, stuff like that. Things like for instance, Randy Orton. I think now that I feel like now he's going to be in it. Yes, I was like he's also older. There's the possibility of like matching up and seeing John Cena in the Rumble. There's I was like things like that. But with him and also with Kofi, because I was like, I don't think there was ever a doubt that also Kofi and the New Day would be in it. They just turned heel. They're going to get massive heat when they come in there and stuff like that. But I think that when I would listen to the Rumble, I think it was 2017 with the Shinsuke Nakamura when he won that one. That they basically was talking about like how Kofi is number 4 at this time, obviously. At this time was number 4 all time in appearances. Randy Orton was number 3 all time in appearances. And if this whole thing that we're doing with WWE now was sort of like making history, rewriting some things so that when you can look back on it, it's sort of almost like we're going to probably get John Cena to win that last championship. So sort of just in case any more other stuff come out like Ric Flair, more people turn on Ric Flair, how they sort of do like with Hogan and stuff like that. To that extent, I was like, you could sort of like let it be a blip in history in a bit of a way. Not getting rid of them in that type of way, but now you don't have to dwell on like, oh man, that's the last big champion or whatever. So I was thinking, I was like. Now, the people that's at the top and stuff like that aren't really in that same mode, but I was like, I do think they would like to see if they could get Kofi, Randy at those top spots. Especially now especially Randy older back and stuff like that. And Kofi, he'll still be able to be in this and all this other stuff. With that being said, I made a video where I said when John Cena come through, he should be greeted by the New Day, I think this should sort of still happen just because I was like, the New Day have heat in a way that I was like, I think would be able to garner either more hype for a baby face or really more like heel type of stuff. Like say for instance, if they eliminated Cena, I don't think that's going to happen, but you get what I'm saying. But anyway, I was like, and this is and I was like, men's and women, I'm doing both of them in the same format, just because it's just a lot easier. This ain't gonna really try to take up too much time with any of this. So anyway, I was like, as I'm also, I'll be thinking of stuff as I normally do, and I also talk about some of these points or whatever. So anyway, I was like, my hands were doing so much here. I was like, yeah, jazz hands. Anyway, so I was like, I think the Iron Man, obviously with that, is going to be Jey Uso. I think they're really making a point for Jey Uso to showcase him in a way. I think that's the reason why we get him with Gunther and the way Gunther's talking about him. I think everybody sort of knows how he sort of gets talked about on the internet of like not being this wrestler guy. He just yeet and aura and all this other stuff. That I was like, I think they really want to sort of try to showcase him. So it's like, what better way than him to be the Iron Man of the whole thing and last in a good portion? Where I think I was like, and also because I was like, and I know that last year he did come out one. I also wouldn't be surprised if they did it again. Just also because unlike everybody else, he does have a whole thing with his entrance. So why not give the crowd, give everybody that whole thing, pump them up, because it's probably going to close the night. That is like after after you're going to have the women's rumble and you're going to have the ladder match and the tag team match, get them back pumped up and ready to go, starting them off with basically the Yeetmeister. Just because everybody else's theme song you can sort of sing or you could do while they're actually going to the, whereas like his whole thing is going to get people all up in arms. I was like, I'm gonna just go that to the Iron Woman of the whole thing. I think it's going to be Jordynne Grace. I think she signed a multi-year deal. She's going to be in the Rumble. She had a good showcasing last year. She's your new person here that you just brought in, and so I was like, and also too, she's also of the Rhea, Bianca, I was like Charlotte to an extent, Nia, like the Raquel, like the real heavyweight type of women that are real like strong and but like like they got the look of it. That I was like, I think you want to go out here and showcase her and have her be basically, and I wouldn't also be surprised if she also had a running in of throwing the most people over. I was like, it's going to probably be her or Nia in some format of that way. But I was like, I give her the Iron Woman, and I was like, I wouldn't be surprised also if she showed up pretty early. I was like, I'm not necessarily go with the first person. I was like, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's like in the top 6 at the beginning, and foreshadowing at the same time. Now, with this, I was like, there's always some people that's like getting called up or whatever in some format. And with NXT, that's what I'm talking about. And I think with the men's, it's pretty easy. I think it's obviously going to be Trick. It's like he lost the championship to Obafemi. I felt like it's been waiting. You sort of have been waiting for him to lose the title at this point. So I don't see why it'll be stalling now. And I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets in there after Carmelo Hayes sort of does it, so they can sort of bring back a little bit of that. I was like, there's no Ilya, so you can't really do that one either. I was just trying to think of like matchups he could sort of run into, because I was like, he's not going to really have too much of that. Maybe Braun at the same time, but Carmelo's the only one that will have the actual face reaction to him showing up. I was like, because I always feel like you get at least about 2 NXT people or whatever. And with the men's, the one that's hard is figuring out if it's going to be somebody like Ethan Page, because of like he held the championship and stuff like that, and he sort of has, sort of felt like, okay, he's sort of at the point where he might also get called up in a sense. It was either him, I think him more handily. I was thinking somebody else of like Wes Lee, someone who's been in NXT for a very long time as well, that you sort of think might also get called up here not too long ago because he's been there for so long. On the women's side, we already know it's going to be Roxanne. She's already done sort of made appearances and stuff like that. I think the other one, I was like, the other ones is hard, because I was thinking about like a Gigi Dolan. She's been in NXT for a long time. I was like, but she's with a stable right now. I was thinking Jada Parker, because I was like, she's sort of been there a while and been having really good matches being brought up. But I was like, the 2 that I think they could pull up, because I was like, you could do more with the women. That I was like, I think it could be Cora Jade. I was like, just because I was like Roxanne, she's pretty much been there at the same rate, even though she's had injuries. That I was like, I feel like she's somebody that you can also sort of call up to an extent at some point. And also, I think Lash Legend, just because she's been on SmackDown, she's already fought for the tag team titles, and she's also a powerhouse type of woman as well, in how I just talked about Jordynne Grace with all of those. So just see that I think that they would also like to put her in there, almost how they sort of did Jade Cargill last year, of just showing off like the, and also in a lot of their matches, Lash has also matched up with them in a lot of ways that I could see that being the case. Now I was like, now we got to go for actual surprises. The men's, I was like, I think it's fairly obvious. It being in Indianapolis, is going to be Pat McAfee, and I think he's going to be more serious this time around than when he was in it last year. I was like, to me, I was like, TNA, I was like, I feel like that's where we're going to go, because I was like, we're not going to get like legend surprise. I don't think we're going to do that in either one of the Rumbles, to be honest. Well, with the women's, I was like, with the men, I was like, I think you're gonna get Joe Hendry. People have been calling for it since last year, pretty much. That I was like, I think you're gonna get Joe Hendry, so everybody could do the whole theme song. He's gonna come out when there's like probably two people in the ring. It ain't gonna be with a full set. I was like, it'd be interesting to see him also in like a face to face, also with John Cena in a way. I think it'd also be funny if it's something where, like, say his name, he appears as Joe Hendry, but also it's John Cena, where you can't see him either. I just think that'd just be stupid. And I was thinking about, like, basically, like, would Moose show up? Because, he's been a TNA lifer for so long. Mustafa Ali, because I was like, I think that you would sort of get, like, a return in a way, with a person that used to be WWE TNA, but they got the partnership, so he tend to come back. Nick Nemeth, I don't know about that one. But the one I think they're going to do, it's going to be Jeff Hardy. I think he's going to come out, and I wouldn't be surprised. I was like, the thing is, do we come out with his theme song, or do we come out with the Hardy Boy theme song? To me, I was like, I think people will pop with no words, but I could see do the Hardy thing just because it's instant reaction that everybody would be like, oh, I know what that is. On the women's side, we're going to get Nikki Bella. I was like, I think she made that very apparent. I don't doubt. I was like, that's sort of why I said like with the like surprise on like a Legends type of thing. I throw Alexa Bliss in here just because I think at this point she's not someone that we're over here putting in returns like Flair and Becky. It will be a actual surprise if she shows up in a way, and also it'd be like almost one of them comeback injury type of things. I think that since they've shown that they're willing to do this with the TNA, I was like a Marsha Slamovich. I was like, cause she has the title right now, that I could see that one, cause you can't do the other person in TNA. And I was like, Ash by Elegance, which basically is Dana Brooks. I could see that one because I do think that it would be one of those intriguing things. I'm like, which name do they go by if they bring them back? I think we will get one of them in that type of way. All right, so now, last but not least, I was like the final people for. I was like, I do the final six, and the reason I do that because, like I said, I watched the 2017 Royal Rumble, and I was like, and then for I was like clarifying is that this is also, I want to say, maybe a year or two that I've came back into wrestling, because I really wasn't watching wrestling like that beforehand. It was like a little bit off and on, people I know. So this is when I started actually getting back into wrestling. So that's also why this sort of more stuck in my head. But I also like the thing of how they had the past and the present kind of. I was like, sort of in a way, even though they're all kind of old as hell at the same time. But the men's one was really hard to trying to figure out the six, because I was like, going to be CM Punk, it's going to be Roman Reigns, and it's going to be Cena. And that's why I was like, those are like sort of the old heads in this scenario. I think Sammy gets in there because I was like, his story is that he can win he can win the Rumble, he can win a championship. So I think you got to place him in that. Jey Uso was sort of difficult just because I was like, he's number one. Do he really last that long and become the new Iron Man and that type of thing? Because I was like, I don't think that might have happened as far as like, because it's more about time than anything. But I could see that as him showing up Roman of being like, I'm still here kind of thing. So I was like, I think he could place himself in that spot. The part that's hard is like, who is really here? Like, how, like, is it Drew? Because I could see Drew and Seth getting taken out basically by the how they operate with all this stuff. So I was like, the sixth one, I was like, look, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say Drew, just to sort of this feeling spot as of right now. I was like, because everybody I'm thinking of, I'm like, there's nobody that I feel like that got the gimmick or the got anything with them that I could just prominently put them over any one of those guys at this moment. It'd be cool if Penta lasted that long, but I don't think they're gonna do that. I was like, there's gonna be no LA Knight or nothing like that, and everybody else is too mid-Carter-ish that like I said, don't have a stick right now. Women's, I was like, I think it's a lot more easier. I was like, I think it's Bianca, who is like always is a threat. I like Nia Jax. I think she actually does last this long. I think she's bypassed a big woman getting pulled out. I think Flair and making it. I was like, as you see my other video, why that possibly is her match. I think Io Sky, who is my secret bet to win it all. I was like, just like Jey Uso, I think Jordan Grace might last up to this point as well. 'Cause like I said, you're giving them a good showing and making something out of them at this point. And I think Liv makes it towards the end. She has been close in all these Rumbles and all these Battle Royales, and I think you're still going to have that. And plus, how else to sort of make the crowd like, if she sort of is there towards the end where everybody's like, oh my God, we're going to get her and Rhea again. So, play into that whole thing. But I was like, you got a good mix of people that people don't really kind of want to. I was like, people that want to see but not want to see. Where Bianca's won it, Flair's won it. So you're like, I'm tired of them. I was like, Io, everybody loves. Nia's the heel in all this. Liv is sort of the annoying one or whatever. Jordan's the new one on the block. I think it's sort of mixed up. And I will say this with the men's. I think you get one big man. That's either going to be Braun, who I don't know after the Jacob Fatu thing. And I was like, you get I was like Omos, and I would have said Oba, Femi, but I was like, no, he's not going to be in there anymore. So I was like, I think Omos gets snuck in there just because I was like, I think they're going to lay Braun to be out due to the Jacob Fatu thing. And I was like, if Solo would have won the Ulafala or they would have held off on that one, I would say he would have been the sixth one just to draw more intrigue. I don't put Jacob Fatu there yet. I think he's going to be also. I think other than Omos, he's going to be the guy where everybody's going to be like, we got to gang up on him and take him all the way out with all this. But no, I was like, I think here I was like, it's going to be a lot of like matchups. I was like, the women's going to be outside of like Ivy Niles and Lyra probably having some beef or whatever, and Chelsea Green and probably like B-Fab or something like that. Because I think they're going to try to have a good showing for B-Fab because they're doing something with her lately. And I was like, I think Maxine will get a prominent spot just because I was like, she's so green with it. But I was like, I think that with them, I was like, to me, it's really about who's going to get shown really well. Because I think with the women, they're going to pump in a lot of the younger talent or the more greener people. Whereas like the men, is going to be a lot of the veterans in that situation. And a lot of people going to be sitting out really in that spot. But anyway, what do y'all think? Do y'all like, who do y'all Iron Man surprise picks, finals? Let me know who it is. We're getting closer to Rumble. I'll have the prediction later. But until then, I appreciate it. Peace. I'm out.